Happy first day of World Cup ticket availability. Kind of. The men's national team defeated Japan in its final friendly of the window. And if you didn't know, we will be live in person in Albuquerque, New Mexico this weekend. That and more on Wednesday's Morning Kick Around. Here we go. The sound of Franz Peckenpower means just one thing. You've made your way to the show called Morning Kick Around, where we cover the world's game from the world's favorite country, United States of America, located in this country, coming to you live each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm Robert Kerr. He's Jason Davis. How you feeling here on Hump Day, sir?
Look, we are just a day away. We are travel day -1 here on Morning Kick Around to get to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I'm very excited for that. Trying to get all my ducks in a row. I am one of those like anxiety-ridden people. Did I forget this? Do I have that? Except I'm terribly unorganized. So my anxiety comes from not knowing if I have everything, but I'm not smart enough to make a list of the things I need to take with me. So it's just a complicated situation over here, Rob. Like, will we get there and do a show? Absolutely. Will it be perfect? I don't know yet, but let's find out.
I feel like we might be a little bit of a birds of a feather, whether that's a good or a bad thing, but I'm similar. I make lists, but then lose lists. So
yeah, that's the thing.
Or something in my mind was in a specific place and I wasn't worried about getting that before I leave the house. You go to that one place where that thing was and it's not there.
You know, sometimes I try. Like, I want to be a more organized person. I want to be more the type that knows where everything is, that can go back and reference something. Oh yeah, in fact, I had this incredible idea. We're going to create a whole Google Doc with little dossiers and all the teams that we cover, all those lower division soccer teams that are popping up in America. We're going to have all these links, and I'm like, I started it, and I'm like, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to follow through on this, Rob? And we need somebody for that. We need an administrator around here. Maybe one day we'll get one.
A morning kick around, a clucking admin would be good for the show. Before we get rocking and rolling, if you haven't hit subscribe yet, do so now. Join the over 3,333 that we had last time I checked. A fun number. Can't wait until we're a 2/3 sort of a show.
You want to be a 6666 kind of show? Is that what you're saying?
There's nothing in the good book against 4 6s, so let's work our way towards that.
It's not the mark of the beast. It's like the mark of the beast's cousin or something.
Mark of the beast mode.
Okay. All right, Rob. I see you. All right, go ahead.
If you want to take your support of the show up a notch, become an MK Ultra. $3.99 a month gets you access to the Discord server, which is a whole lot of fun. Really enjoyed that addition to the show. There's conversations about national team, local stuff, and everything connected to North American soccer. That's $3.99 a month. Become an MK Ultra. You can also support us on coffee.com/morningkickaround, where we have some specific fundraising goals set there. Thank you to everyone who has watched, subscribed, become an MK Ultra, supported us on Ko-Fi at any which way. And if you want to do any of that, just tell your family and friends about Morning Kick Around. All right, ready to get into the show?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's kick those long balls here on Wednesday. Long ball number 1 here on Wednesday, September 10th. My name is Robert Kerr. He's Jason Davis, and we are travel day -1 for our first live on location episode of Morning Kick Around. Programming note, we will be broadcasting our Friday show from Mountain Time. So y'all on the East Coast, that'll be delayed 2 hours, but the Friday live show is happening. But special edition Saturday night, we've already got it on the Morning Kick Around YouTube page. You can already find that link live and direct. We are going live an hour and a half before kickoff, so 5:30 Mountain Time. We will be having a cavalcade of guests. We'll be featuring the festivities and the color that is Meow Wolf Night, one of the best intersections of art, community, and sports. Meow Wolf Night at New Mexico United. Isotopes Park, the scene, Saturday night out there.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. We've been talking through some of the things we're pulling together as we work with the staff over at New Mexico United to get things all lined up. We're going to have obviously guests. My goal is to have this be controlled chaos, Rob. Like, I want this to capture the energy that is happening there in Albuquerque at Isotopes Park for this particular event, this thing that is Meow Wolf Night, which has become a tradition maybe unlike any other in American soccer. I mean, I think there are some great cultural things happening in American soccer. That's not what I'm saying, that this is better than those things. I'm just saying that this is particularly unique and it's particularly New Mexican. And I have not really spent time in New Mexico, so I'm anxious to get a taste of what that's like.
Yeah, at the very least, we will have a cavalcade of guests, including the owner of New Mexico United, Peter Trevisani. We will be trying to feature as many colorful costumes as possible. In my mind, I want to welcome and usher on all sorts of eccentrically dressed folks to talk about what they're doing and how much fun they're having and why it is they're doing what they're doing. But there's a litany of events through the weekend. We'll be doing our show, of course, Friday there, and then we will be at the kit presentation party on Friday night, which is fun. Parties are fun. Kits are fun, so it'll be nice to be out there for all of those and just to meet the supporters, the locals, the Black Diamonds, the supporters group. If you're out there, reach out to Morning Kicker, and we'd love to meet as many passionate supporters as possible during our time in Albuquerque.
Yep, absolutely. That's the upshot, is that we want this to be our community event. Obviously, if you can't be there in person, then partake online. And again, spread the word, let people know. Please tell people that we're doing something cool for lower division American soccer, for the USL, for USL Championship, for New Mexico United, for soccer that is really going to be the drive. As much as, look, $500 million for a franchise and building fancy new stadiums. And we're going to highlight another stadium under construction for Major League Soccer on today's show. As much as that's a major driver of excitement in American soccer, we have to have a platform. We have to have what's our hashtag? What's our phrase around here, Rob? What is it we say about teams and about fans? We want to dot the map, right? This is about dotting the map. And New Mexico United has dotted the map in Albuquerque. They've made this culture their own. And I think this would be great to kind of set us up to express the joy that is happening all across the country when it comes to soccer.
This will be, I believe, both you and I's first time in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And let's bring in producer Jenny to give us a little bit of education. Welcome in, Jenny. Happy Wednesday morning.
Good morning.
I understand you've got a couple factoids about New Mexico and Albuquerque.
I do.
To educate us and the audience.
Just a couple of things so you guys can fit in and educate our audience a little bit about the great state of New Mexico. So the first one is, I'll just go a couple of generic ones here. We already know that New Mexico is the nation's largest producer of chili peppers. And by the time you guys are done with your trip, you'll have to answer red or green in terms of what your chili pepper preference is.
I heard there's a hack.
The hack.
I've been told by a friend of mine that you can go Christmas style or something, like you can say Christmas style, and then you'll get
the two of them.
Yeah, you get red and green. That may be the way to avoid having to choose between red and green.
Fair enough. That's not a bad idea for you if you want to get off easy like that. Santa Fe, not the city you're going to, but the state capital of New Mexico, is the oldest state capital in the United States. One of the first Spanish settlements on what is now American soil, anyway. I
heard it's the second oldest in the whole United States, right?
Yeah, St. Augustine, Florida is the only one that's older.
Wow.
Then Albuquerque every year in October has the International Balloon Fiesta, and New Mexico is the hot air balloon capital of the world.
I did know that. I've seen pictures of that event, and I think that that's something that even our contacts at New Mexico have talked about, the balloon festival being part of the vibe and the scene there. That's correct. I don't know if I'd go up in one, but I'd look at all the pretty balloons.
I would definitely stay firmly anchored to the ground. Two more fun facts before I get to the soccer players. New Mexico is one of 7 majority-minority states in the union and has the second largest percentage of their population that is Native American, which probably contributes in large part to the cultural diversity of Meow Wolf Night. And finally, my personal favorite New Mexico fact is the existence of Roswell, New Mexico, and their connection to UFOs and aliens.
Yeah.
The one place that aliens have landed on Earth, if you're a believer.
Yes.
If you're one of those types.
Yeah.
We'll have to get some news on the streets and see how many believers we can find out there.
Yeah, you know, imagine that's part of the. Imagine there's got to be some connection. Like somebody's going to turn the alien theme into their costume for Meow Wolf Night. I would be disappointed.
I hope so. Yeah,
at least part of it. So yeah, that's incredible. And I tend to think of Futurama when I think about Roswell, but that's just me.
My favorite episode of Futurama.
There you go. Thank you, Jenny.
Well. I got one more thing. I got 3 soccer players to point out here. The first one is current DC United right back Aaron Herrera, was born in Las Cruces, Mexico. I guess Las Cruces is a hotbed for DC United prospects because their goalkeeper Luis Barraza was also born in Las Cruces, Mexico. And on the women's side, they have Tammy Pierman, who played in the collection of early women's professional leagues throughout the 90s and 2000s and made 9 appearances for the U.S. women's national team, scoring 1 goal.
Okay, there you go. The proud soccer history of the state of New Mexico. Thank you to Jenny for jumping in, giving us facts.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jenny. Reminder, one more note. Saturday, September 13th, we will be live on the scene doing the hour plus before kickoff Meow Wolf Night live at Isotopes Park on Saturday, the first ever live on location episode of Morning Kick Round. Exciting week coming up. Moving along to our second long ball of the day. We're talking stadiums. We're talking stadiums here, Jason.
Yes.
We got a bit of an update on the stadium situation elsewhere on Monday, but we got an update from South Florida. Freedom Park Stadium in Miami looks like there is actually a stadium going in there after much deliberation and lots of politicking. The construction is underway, and local YouTuber Football Miami TV got some views as close as he could to this project.
Yeah, the highlight to this YouTube creator who's down there. I think he's doing pretty actually, I've seen a couple of different people doing construction.
This gentleman is doing monthly by the look of it.
Okay, so we've got a couple of people doing updates down there construction-wise on Miami Freedom Park. And, you know, look, there's some complicated feelings around Inter Miami right now, Rob. Some people are not necessarily fans of Inter Miami.
If I was a glib person and I'm watching this right now, it'd be like, who cares? By the time this stadium is open, Messi will be gone and no one cares about this team.
Well, there's a real big push to make sure that Messi plays on this field when it opens next year. Now they have to sign Lionel Messi to a new contract, and last time I checked, that man has not signed a new contract with Inter Miami. It's leading to the kind of speculation, You know that Lionel Messi is good clickbait, Rob. I don't know if you knew that. If you're aware that Lionel Messi is the kind of player that can drive attention to your website if you are someone who's willing to put up things that are maybe spurious or not necessarily the most well-sourced information.
Him and Ronaldo are the kind of topics where you see so many clickbaity articles. It's really hard to know. Like, I barely even follow it because there's so many, just a plethora, just anything with their name in it and a sentence, and they'll put it out there. So whether he's sold, I think I've seen 10 articles saying he has planned a new contract, 10 saying he refuses to ever sign one. So I don't know where the truth is there.
Exactly. And there's even stuff, that's coming out from other places. Oh, Lionel Messi's going to sign with this other team in Europe or this other team in Argentina or whatever. And none of that is clear yet. And so, but obviously Jorge Mas, this is not the house that Messi built because it was the plans were underway before Messi arrived, but it essentially will be the stadium that Messi blesses with his presence if he plays there.
You just made me shudder thinking about all the praise that'll go for the house that Messi built. You just gave them their hashtag.
Oh, they're gonna I didn't like create something completely original that no one has ever thought of before, right?
You put it in my mind, at least.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll take credit then. But it's going to be nice. It's going to be a nice stadium. Like if you look at the location, it's not the best located stadium in American soccer, but it's not terrible either. Just getting a stadium under construction in America is tough. And as a soccer fan who wants to see soccer grow, I can't say that this is a bad thing that this stadium is going to exist in Miami, and it could take Miami to a new level. But there's still a lot of questions around some of the things that are happening with Inter Miami. And again, does Messi's departure, which is going to come and probably sometime soon, does that change the trajectory of this club? Does it affect the popularity of MLS? Does it do a lot of things? Like if you take Messi out of the equation, what does that do? What does that change about how successful any of this can be?
I have a feeling that they're going to do something to continue his name to be associated with the team beyond his playing days. I just had an idea that popped into my head. If he does in fact get to play here, and I think someone in the chat is talking about adding him to a Ring of Honor. What do you think about it? Could be Messi sponsor stadium, like Messi's Think Pink Stadium or whatever that could be. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to tagline.
You mean
like
Lionel Messi's Moss Stadium, the drink that Lionel Messi has, it's called, is it Moss Plus? Is that what it is technically? Moss Plus? Maybe it could be Moss Plus Stadium. I mean,
yeah.
The reason it's Freedom Park, by the way, I think, I don't know if people are clear on this or not, and it probably will remain Freedom Park, something Freedom Park, right? Freedom Park, Moss Plus Freedom Park. It could be that. I mean, I don't know that Moss Plus is likely to be the sponsor for the stadium, but it's possible. But the reason it's Freedom Park is because Jorge Mas is very much tied into the Cuban community in Miami, part of a family that left Cuba during the revolution, when Fidel Castro took over. They are very much on that side of the Cuban political equation. And so for Jorge and for the Mas family, this is a matter of America is freedom from Fidel, freedom from communism, freedom. It's a political statement as much as it's about soccer, right? And Jorge Mas was not a soccer guy before he got pulled into this and recruited, and probably his eyes opened up and went, oh, I can use this as a vehicle for all these other things I want to do, right? So, and I'm not saying any of that is bad necessarily. I'm not making a judgment on Jorge Mas. I'm just saying that you have to keep in mind that this is not just about the soccer for Jorge. This is about what this stadium represents for him and his family and the Cuban exile community and all things.
Indeed. Thanks to Football Miami TV. I think that's the last of the shots he has of the stadium, but thank you to him and others who are monitoring this. It's a topic because, like you said, building stadiums anywhere but in the United States is difficult. On Monday, we talked about NYCFC's stadium. I think it's Etihad Park is actually underway, which is a long storied project that people weren't sure if it was ever going to happen, similar to Miami that we just saw on screen there. A stadium is being built. And it kind of puts pressure on those other places that have been, hard done by to get a stadium project underway. Kind of puts the pressure on them to see if they can afford it, like the Bostons of the world and other cities such as that are really been in a bind for, or at least a quagmire of sorts for a long time.
Yeah, there is a little bit. I don't know if it's a development, but the primary for Boston mayor happened last night.
Oh,
and Michelle Wu. So it's confirmed that Michelle Wu and Joshua Kraft will battle for the mayorship in Boston. Michelle Wu, the incumbent mayor, of course. She is the one who, of course, said that maybe there was something not great going on with the plan to build the stadium in Revere, and because even though Revere is not part of Boston, because it's a locality directly next to Boston and could affect traffic in Charlestown, that Boston would have a say in this. And, it's been used as a political topic. The Kraft family, Michelle Wu, I don't know that it's Michelle Wu's completely against the project, but there's certainly something there to keep an eye on now that we see that she indeed will be running would be, she'll be up for the mayor for another term as mayor, and more than likely she's going to win based on what the polls are saying.
Indeed, and we'll keep our eyes on those developments. And moving from MLS stadium plans, we move across the country. Long ball number 3, AC Boise, the USL club to be coming up soon, not yet hit the field, announced that they have broken the USL's record for season ticket deposits. Club Boise is now the all-time USL record holder for season pass deposits, breaking, I think it's almost 6,250 ticket deposits for a team that hasn't played yet. Pretty incredible stuff there from the Northwest.
Yeah, 6,250 is a good number. I mean, there are MLS teams who would be like, oh, can we get to 6,000? So, and this is obviously, there's a couple things that you have to keep in mind here. This is new. It's a new thing in Boise to have a soccer team coming to town, which means everybody wants to be on the new thing. I'm not saying that necessarily means it can't be successful long term, but it's just something to keep in mind as we kind of process this news. Here's the story from this is idahonews.com, CBS 2 in Boise that's got this story. They are constructing their stadium out of the old bones of the former, I'm going to say Les Bois, but it's probably not. It's probably Les Boys or something.
Le Boy.
I don't know.
Yeah. Le Boy.
Yeah. So there's a horse track and they're building this stadium. They announced they have nearly sold out their pre-sale, as you can see on the screen. I think this is awesome. And we talked about their badge, and we maybe had some this is what we do. Right? We pick up how to badge. That's what we do here on Morning Kick Around. And as American soccer fans, it comes with the territory. But they are tying in that Basque identity because there is a significant Basque community in Boise. They've obviously got a vibrant soccer scene that maybe is under the radar for a lot of people. I've seen some conversations with people around the club. I think we mentioned that Glenn Crooks had someone from Boise on his coaching academy show, which is on Sirius XM FC, which is also where you can hear me in the afternoons. And they're trying to be creative with this. They're not taking a pretty standard approach. And I think that is maybe true about a lot of these projects, Rob, that there to me has been a shift where, and look, we've heard some things and we're still a little worried about a couple of franchises. And you can look at a club like Northern Colorado or some of these other clubs that have come and gone because they just didn't have the right structure, the right backing, the right money behind them, or the right plan for a stadium or whatever that is. But I do think we're seeing a bit of a shift where there's some things that are accessible now at a different level. USL has a plan for allowing for new franchise to come in at decent price points or decent levels of investment that isn't insane. And that means that actual soccer people can kind of be involved from the very beginning. And lots of times those are soccer people that either have ties to the community or understand the culture that they're working in. And I think that's huge for the success of a team. And I want every single one of these teams to be successful. Whatever we're talking about, Buffalo or Boise or any of these towns, we want there to be people involved who not only care about the game of soccer, but can speak directly to the community of soccer people that exist in that town, or maybe reach out across the aisle, so to speak, to people who aren't soccer fans yet.
Yeah, speaking to that conversation that the club leader had with Glenn Crooks, he mentioned something about a work program with the players and kind of an acknowledgement that the third division isn't exactly, you're not going to make millions of dollars there. And they acknowledge the fact that a lot of the American talent pool are highly educated. They've gone oftentimes to, really prestigious schools. If they're at the forefront of, college soccer, they've gone to some pretty good schools and could have some pretty good education. I think it was the CEO was saying that they want to figure out a work program to utilize these high level degreed folks outside of the soccer playing aspect. And it's kind of fun in the press release that we got here from the local news here. They list the other records for USL ticket deposits, and got to say Boise broke the record just broke it. So the previous record holder for season ticket deposits in the USL was Nashville SC in 2018, pre-MLS days. They sold 6,207. So we're talking about a difference of like 18 people buying tickets is the difference for breaking this record for Boise. Just under that,
By the way,
Cincinnati.
do we have somebody verifying these records? Like, do we have an independent body? Is there an accounting firm who's going in and making sure that this is all legit? What if they gave somebody a season ticket deposit spot gratis, right? Does that count? Probably not. Like, you got to collect the cash. What if somebody says, I want to, I'm paying this off in installments, and they've only put down 10% or something. I'm just kidding. I don't know, Rob.
Self-reported from season ticket departments, which could be a bit wishy-washy, admittedly. So
regardless, it's pretty clear. And look, they wouldn't, if they were sort of fudging things to get excitement building more in Boise, they wouldn't be the first club to do that. But I would say I doubt that that's the case. I'm not trying to accuse anybody of lying here. I just want to make sure that we are at least somewhat careful about how excited we get about some of this stuff. Now, I'll bring in a comment here from Riverside Grove, because I said we want clubs to succeed. It's okay if some clubs fail because they got things wrong. It creates space for others to try who might have a better model. I don't disagree with that in principle. But again, if you think about the number of times we've had clubs die, and then it takes a decade or more for another club to enter into that town or that city, because it just takes that long before people are like, we can try soccer again. Oh, remember that team that existed for 4 years and disappeared? And then nobody soccer can't work here, or soccer's not a thing that has a home in Cleveland or whatever, right? How long has it been since Cleveland had a professional soccer team, Rob? The Cleveland Stars folded 15 years ago.
They have indoor, don't they?
Well, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about a men's outdoor professional team of a decent level. And there's no reason, if we talk about dotting the map, there's no reason that Cleveland shouldn't have a team on paper. When we look at the size of that town, there's no reason for Cleveland not to have one. But part of the reason that they probably don't have one is because the last time it failed, everybody just ran scared away from Cleveland. Let's move on to other markets that haven't been opened up yet. So there you go.
Yeah, we will be talking more Cleveland next week when we return from Albuquerque. So I'm glad you noted that. The other teams on this records list, FC Cincinnati in 2016, Sacramento Republic in 2014. That's probably the highest remaining USL team. They sold 5,700. Portland Hearts of Pine in here, and Rhode Island FC last year sold 4,200 season ticket deposits. So exciting stuff there. Of course, AC Boise, one of 7 new clubs entering the 3rd division of American professional soccer next year. So we'll follow along with that. Hopefully we get someone on from Athletic Club Boise to discuss the club and the plans and how that stadium's faring for their 2026 start. Lots of teams across the country under the pressure this window to get a lot of things done for 2026. Before we move along to our big topics of the day, be sure to click subscribe if you haven't done so already. There's a number of people watching here live, and if you're watching now and you haven't hit subscribe, do so now. That would be fantastic. Cheap, charge-free way to support the show. And if you want to step it up a notch, become a member, become an MK Ultra. $3.99 a month is what gets you there. Priority commenting on live videos, early access to videos, bonus content, and access to the Morning Kick Around Discord server, where great conversations are happening every day, from the national team down to our local teams in our backyards. Join the conversation. The American soccer conversation lives right here at Morning Kick Around. Thank you to everyone who's supported on all the various ways. And thank you for everyone who's going to tell their friends and family about the show right after watching this here today. Yeah. We're going to take a breath, get a sip of our favorite beverage, and move right along. We're going to talk about it. United States men's national team won. Come back with our hot topic here in just a flash here on Morning Kick Around. Hot topic here on Morning Kicker, and I'm Robert. He's Jason, and we took in a 2-0 win. The United States men's national team returned to winning ways in the final exhibition of this September international window. Japan played with sans some big stars. Matoma, Endo, Minamino started on the bench, didn't come on till later in the game. Yeah. But in my opinion, a much more positive and organized display than we saw at the weekend.
Of course. Yeah, there's no doubt that was way better than what we saw on Saturday, and maybe the best we've seen from a Mauricio Pochettino-led U.S. men's national team. Like, there's no doubt about that. I do think it's important to consider the context. I do think it's important to recognize that Japan rotated heavily and didn't have all of those big names on the field that you just mentioned. I don't know that the U.S. played a perfect game. Of course, they didn't. And I could pick some things apart a little bit. But it also is encouraging that Pochettino, who had already called the roster. That was, unless I'm mistaken, he picked those players to call into the U.S. men's national team. Like, the fact that he looked at that and said, oh, you know what? I got some guys that might make good wing backs. Maybe we should play with a back three. Like, oh, let's do that. Let's try that. Let's see what happens here, guys. Like, what do you think? It's a crazy idea. Let's do it. And it worked. Right. And again, that also, you could argue that maybe you're just matching Japan on, and that's part of it too. But if you play a team that's playing a back four and you've got a back three, are you going to have issues, et cetera, et cetera? Big man marking around the field a little bit easier when you're just mirroring their formation. But it definitely felt better. It seemed to work in ways that Saturday didn't work until they went to a back three. And you may not think Tristan Blackman is the level for the World Cup. You may not think that Christian Roldan will be on that team. You may not be convinced yet that Alex Freeman is ready, but none of them have clicked out of place. And we got a striker to score a goal.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. There you go. There you go.
It had been a while since we saw a much Balogun, and I'll admit I had been a little bit cynical about how much of a level up he could still be compared to the other pool of strikers, but I was pleasantly surprised at what he was able to bring, and it was great to see him score a goal. You know what stood out to me most, especially in the first half? Matt Freese, solid. Actually, he dealt with some awkward shots, some crosses, and had kind of that trustworthy authority when watching him. It didn't look like, didn't give that Onana feeling when you're just like anything could happen when the ball goes in the box. I was confident with his performance last night.
There was, I mean, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that I'm like, oh, he's definitely the number one now, but he made some good saves. He did some nice things. There are still, I'll say this too. I think this is also worth pointing out. The press worked better and the repress was good from the United States. And that had not been the case. And maybe that's the organization. Maybe that's where the bodies were. And again, maybe that's matching up against Japan in something that mirrored their formation. But I definitely think there was something else at work here. And, maybe this is a lesson to all of us that we should just shut up and let Pochettino cook. And we're all wrong if we're down on this team right now. And he's right. And he was even in the press conference after the game talking about that thing of the criticism and his reaction to it. And basically he's like, it's not that I can't handle criticism. Obviously he's a guy that has coached in some pretty tough environments. I mean, the London media in and of itself is a thing. But he said that he thought some people had been unprofessional during the week and sort of the reaction to this. And there are some people, I have not clicked on it. I have not engaged with it, but I keep seeing a headline that says Alexi Lalas is calling for Mauricio Pochettino to be fired. And like Pochettino did say, you can criticize me, but let the players do their thing. I don't know that I buy that either. I mean, players are going to be up for criticism just like anybody else. But I do appreciate a manager who's basically saying, I'm the one responsible here. Make me the focus of this and try to take that pressure off his players, particularly in a moment when he has said, and some people just aren't buying it, that this is not necessarily his final team, right? This is not the team he's taking the World Cup. Now, okay, by the way, I saw the headline. Okay. didn't engage with the content, but Andy is saying Lawless did not call for Poach to be fired. He question was asked him was hypothetical. All right, well then that's just a way to this business long enough, Andy, to know that that's just a way to bring the question up without saying that you called for him to be fired. So I'm not going to swallow that as like, oh, that's an excuse for Alexi. If it was asked, hey, Lexi, could they fire Poach right now? Is it bad enough? And he said, well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible that you could justify firing him. Then that's just a way to say I might fire him or at least engage with it. It's clickbait, right? That's what we're dealing with. A lot of this is clickbait.
Nate bringing up kind of the next chapter of this topic of players we liked. Love for Zendejas.
Yes, absolutely.
I enjoyed his goal, and that was really good. And I've felt for quite some time that Zendejas has been underutilized in this team in the last, I guess this last like year or so.
I will say that this is his best performance. I mean, the best one I can remember. Okay, so. And Pochettino after the game said that with this type of performance, he's in the race for the World Cup. And that's what these players need to be doing, is making their case to be in that World Cup roster. And I was impressed by Zendejas. And I do like him. I like the concept of Alex Zendejas in the U.S. men's national team. It has not always worked. But in this case, I do think that he made a very strong case that he should be in the team going to the World Cup. Whether that means, I'm not saying he's a starter, but there may be opportunities for him to do those things.
Yeah, he's got a skill set that no one else in the group really does, and I think he could be an asset. And definitely, I think it would be a mistake to leave him out if he's fit and healthy. And Riverside Grove, got to say, good commenter, adds a lot of stuff, and I agree here. Dustin Jedi as wingback should be the way forward. And I feel like if the United States are going to do anything of great impact next year World Cup, these guys need to be fit and firing, because I recall over the last few years, this team can be dangerous and creative with them on the field, but without them, there's not a lot of either of those.
Well, again, so we come back to system and whether or not the back three with the wing backs is maybe just the right fit for Alex Zendejas, and that gives him the space, inside, cutting in the way that he likes to, leaving space, as Riverside Grove said, for Serginho Dest to do his thing. Obviously, Freeman over Dest to start this game, but Dest did play. I thought Dest was one of the better players against South Korea, so he deserves some credit there. There is also an argument, like, again, if you look at this and go, I don't know about Tristan Blackman. Now, are you going to swap in a Mark McKenzie who's not in this team? Or are you going to, I mean, is there somebody else that you think is the right center back to step in? And by the way, that kind of presumes that Tim Ream is just going to be a starter at the World Cup, which at this point, I mean, I'm not saying his legs are going to fall off, but he is at a point where his age could be an issue when you're in a tournament with games coming fast and furious. But I think there's also an argument, and I've seen this out there, and I can't remember, maybe it was Eric Winalda, who I work with on the radio, maybe it was somebody else. How about Jedi Robinson as one of those center backs, which allows you to get maybe Tim Weah on the field as a wingback opposite of Serginho Dest? Or you could obviously, like, if you want Jedi to be an attacking player, he has to play wingback and not center back. I understand that. But if you're talking about a guy you trust as a defender who understands how to read the game and certainly has a relationship with Ream if he's on the field, then that might be a way to get Jedi on the field, in addition to having somebody else who maybe isn't quite the defender that Jedi is play in that wingback position, whether that's Weah or Arston.
I like that. That's a good shout. Give him the Kyle Walker treatment. Bring him from that fullback position and bring him in. And you take maybe comparable skill sets as far as having absolute rocket jets for legs, be able to come back and cover space if beaten in behind, and then the ability, obviously he can tackle and defend. So that's a good shout there to maybe do the whole Kyle Walker 3 in the back thing.
I want to mention Christian Roldan, right? Obviously a divisive figure among certain segments of the U.S. men's national team fan base. Not only called in late, not even on the provisional roster for this window, not called in late, off of vacation after winning the Leagues Cup with Seattle, gets an opportunity to start here, goes 90 minutes. He was good in the work that he did. He was good in the defensive things that he provided. He was good covering space and blocking up passing lanes. He left me a little cold with some of the passing, particularly towards the latter half of the match. It felt like fatigue had set in, and he was leaving a lot of things short. And in fact, I think that Japan got one decent chance. Maybe it was the shot that that hit the corner, they rattled the crossbar from about 25 yards. That may have come off a turnover that was from a Christian Roldan pass that he left short. So I think what I'm saying is, well, he generally has good reviews, and people are pointing out, and certainly Seattle fans are crowing today about Christian Roldan's contributions to a win for the U.S. men's national team against top 30 opposition, which we haven't had many of. But I will say that it's a mixed bag, and there are no perfect players in this situation. And I think that is something that Pochettino is going to have to figure out. Where is the give and take with some of these players and what they do well and what they don't?
So last night, Zendejas and Balogun with the goals, Max Arfston and Christian Pulisic with the assists on the night. But I got to say, going back to Sergiño Dest, he's a really fun player to watch. And I really hope that he's healthy and fit and available next year, because some of his passes, he set up some really dangerous situations. How much of a rocket was that? I think he set up the American that got traded to Houston, all left footer, Jack McGlynn. That shot that Dest set up for Jack McGlynn, wow, was that ever sweet. And he did that, I think, for Zendejas maybe earlier, but
I think that was also off a dummy by Damian Downs. Is that the sequence that you're talking about?
Yeah,
nice, not good decision from Downs to leave that for McGlynn, and if it's just inches away. Now again, Japan was inches away themselves, so it could have been 3-1. It could have been, there's a many different, but I do think overall the balance of the game, you have to be very encouraged by the performance. It was certainly an upgrade over Saturday, and I will say that's not the Japan you would face in tournament football. You would face a different team with Minamino on the field and Indo on the field and all that, but have to take it for what it is. Like, don't look too closely at a friendly. It's just not worth it. But take it as a little bit of progress, and certainly the vibes are different. And we saw this on social media. I think Henry Bushnell found this, took this video. Let me put this on the stage. Oh, hold on, I can't get that off the stage first. Let me put this back. Tim Weah and I can't remember who else that is, just walking through the mix zone while the reporters are all standing there. Everybody covering the game is standing there, playing a cover version of Fast Car that I didn't. Am I just behind the times? Did I know that existed? Did you know that existed? Did you know?
I'm not. I'll hands up. I don't know the current pop country songs right now, okay. So that could be the biggest hit in America right now.
Jack McGlynn may have hit the woodwork twice, but I certainly remember one of those being one of the sweet left. The one he absolutely hammered, and then I think there was another one that was maybe pushed off by the goalkeeper, but I don't think that was a well-taken I think Jack kind of misplaced that shot, and it was going to be saved if it didn't get deflected towards the post. I think that's all I remember. Maybe Chris has a better memory than me. My apologies if I'm getting that wrong, but yeah, there you go.
But yeah, Dest cutting in, it looked like he was going to shoot the whole way, lays it off. For a great shot at the top of the box, and hope to see a lot more of that in the future games. The remaining schedule for the United States men's national team here this year, they play Ecuador in Austin in October, Australia in Denver, and in November, Paraguay and Uruguay. So some stiffer competition on the way, and hopefully more progress and more galvanized United States men's national team in the future. Moving along in the show, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this now, haven't hit subscribe, do so now. Subscribe and step it up a notch. Become a member. MK Ultra is what happens when you become a member of the channel. And if you don't want to do all that monthly commitment, you can just hit thanks, super thanks, available all the time. You just hit the thanks button underneath the video window here, or you could just tell your family and friends about Morning Kick Around, the center of the American soccer conversation. We've got one more segment ahead. We're going to catch our breath and come right back, and we are going to talk culture wars and World Cup tickets here on Morning Kick Around. Culture wars here on Morning Kick Around, and I think the war in this segment is FIFA versus our wallets as the World Cup tickets become available on the exclusive Visa lottery sweepstakes. I think it comes 11 o'clock Eastern this morning. We had a great guest, travel football fan on Monday. If you didn't see that, he lays out all the different scenarios of how you should buy tickets. There's multiple phases and this and that. But right now we're going to talk about the dynamic pricing element of buying a World Cup ticket. And New York City mayoral hopeful Zoran Mamdani spoke out against dynamic pricing and FIFA, and he's got a petition. He's gathering signatures.
Yeah, let me pop up the page that he's got on his website for this. This is about FIFA, and Game Over Greed is the campaign. Says it there, the biggest sporting event in the world is happening in our backyard, and the vast majority of New Yorkers won't be able to see it. And he's talking about ticket prices and dynamic pricing. It says there, we are signing this petition and sending a clear message to FIFA demanding no dynamic pricing, placing a cap on resale prices, which is something in our chat, in our comments rather, after we had Travel Football Fans, someone said that there was resale for Russia and Qatar, but those resale prices were capped at face value. I don't think that's the plan here. Nope. And 50% of tickets set aside for local residents at a discount, which does make a lot of sense. Why are you pricing out the people who might live nearby if you're talking about this is our host city and we chose it for a reason? And let's just also be clear, because I don't think we've talked about Mamdani on our show. Neither of us are New Yorkers, but he's obviously becoming a national figure because of the race for mayor in New York and some of the things that are happening politically. And he is a soccer fan. Like, there's no doubt that the man is a soccer fan. In fact, I think he's been identified as an Arsenal fan. Much to many people's chagrin. Producer Jenny is thrilled by this. Rob, not so much. Again, neither of you are New Yorkers, so it does not matter to your life whatsoever.
Nope.
But he has been identified as an Arsenal fan. So he is a soccer guy. Now, he did a video. I'd love to. We have to be careful with audio sometimes on the show because of copyrights and whatever. I don't know if this is going to be a problem, but let's just play a little bit of the video that he did for this campaign, this Game Over Greed.
The World Cup's coming to New York next year, and as a lifelong soccer fan, I couldn't be more excited.
First of all,
it's good because the first time I watched it, I didn't even blink the first time.
That's so very funny. Now let's watch his technique. Let's also criticize whether or not he's a decent footballer, right? So we got a couple of things here. Hey, look, this is that. There's something going on there.
Be able to watch the matches? Pre-sale starts tomorrow, and for the first time, FIFA is using dynamic pricing, where they're going to figure out in real time how much they can get away with for charging a ticket. The tickets can be resold on an official FIFA platform with no price cap. That means you could buy a ticket for $60 and sell it for $6,000. And unlike the last 3 World Cups, there's nothing set aside for residents. What this all means is the biggest sporting event in the world is happening in your backyard, and you'll be priced out of it. That's why I'm calling all soccer fans to go to ZahranForNYC.com/GameOverGreed to demand FIFA and dynamic pricing. Place a cap on resale prices and set aside 15% of tickets for local residents at a discount. Let's call this price gouging what it is.
So there's a lot of good stuff in there. I enjoyed his, in less serious note, his chest touch was spot on. That was very well done. But those 3 bullet points, regardless if you agree with the politics of it all, everyone should be able to agree. At least regular citizens should be able to agree on those 3 things he's talking about: no dynamic pricing, a cap on resale, and an allocation for locals. Like, you can't really. Those all seem like very reasonable things to be part of this process. But it also makes me think: is this too little, too late? Because it's literally happening today.
No, of course. Maybe this is something he threw together at the last minute because he suddenly became aware of it, or maybe who knows exactly what's going on. And clearly, there's some political value to this for Zoran Mamdani because he's running for mayor in a city chock full of football fans and chock full of people from all over the world whose cultures very much care about this and who are very excited to see the World Cup come to the United States. When we talked to Travel Football Fan on Monday, Rob, it was one of the things, like, people are coming from everywhere, but also people live here already who want to go follow all of the teams that are going to be here for the World Cup. And certainly Mamdani knows that there are voters in New York who might vote for him if he's saying, stop FIFA, this greed is terrible. Now, I've also seen a cynical response to this.
Of
Which
course.
you can't do anything. What are you talking about, Mom Donnie? Shut up already. You can't go up against FIFA. They're the most corrupt organization in the world. Johnny Infantino is the devil, all those things. And it's like, do you not want him to try? Do you know anybody with any actual power? And he doesn't have power yet, but he's certainly a powerful voice because of the election and where he sits in polling. You don't want them to say something? You'd rather them just shut up and let FIFA and Johnny Infantino run roughshod over American soccer fans because we can't do anything anyway. Like, I hate that mentality of let's just throw up our hands. It's over. Might as well get gouged.
Yeah, because if there's nobody pushing back in any way, then the steamroller just moves unencumbered, and they just get their way 100% of the way. Even if he doesn't get everything that he wants, at least it's like registered that people don't appreciate this and don't like this, and that there is some sort of an effort to push back. Because if it's unfettered and just unencumbered the way they want it, then there absolutely will be no progress if no one tries.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to shame these people. Now, maybe they're unshameable, right? You have to try to shame them. Yes, it certainly looks like Johnny Infantino has that lizard skin. That means everything just bounces. He does not care at all. If you call him craven, if you call him, a brown noser, if you say that he is just bought and paid for, he does not care. Sure. But there are people who don't want this to be the case, who would rather not see FIFA come to this country or go to any country for that matter and just gouge people for money. Now, it's been said in the chat, and it's true, when nobody can afford them, ticket prices will drop like the Club World Cup. And certainly there are people who are maybe a little bit more savvy about this situation and understand what's going on here, who will say, well, I'll just wait. I'll just wait till the last minute. It's like buying a ticket off a scalper when the game's already started. His prices have dropped dramatically because the game's already underway. So you stand outside and you wait for him to cut his prices in half, and you go, okay, now I'll buy a ticket to go see this game.
It's pretty hard to fly halfway across the world or across the country to do that.
Exactly. The commitment involved here is so different than that. If you're going to see your local team play a regular season game and say a baseball season or whatever, like this is not that. This is people center their lives around this event. They make their whole year about the World Cup, their whole decade about the World Cup. And you're going to tell them, hey, the only way to get a decent price on a ticket is to wait to the last minute. And by the way, you still might not get a good price. You don't know.
Right.
That's tough.
I think that our idea on the lodging might be right in some of the cities like Vancouver. We were joking about like a couch surfing app exclusively for the World Cup. And some of the numbers that we were talking about in Vancouver certainly makes that seem realistic. And I'm sure I'm trying to get to some games in Toronto, and they're already notoriously expensive there. So couch surf World Cup edition definitely, I think, might be.
Do we know any app developers? Do we know anybody who can help us with this incredible idea of a couch surfing World Cup lodging app? I don't know exactly what. Now, obviously,
morning kick around couch cruiser app.
Now, I don't know about the word cruiser. I think we might have to leave that out. But also, there are concerns about vetting these people involved, Rob. So I don't know. Maybe this is a legal black hole we don't want to fall into, but. It's just a thought, because again, the reason it even comes to mind is because people are going to be priced out. And even if it's not the ticket prices, right? Mamdani is focused on the ticket prices, and rightfully so. FIFA controls those. But it's also that thing about what the hotel prices are going. And obviously, by the way, this does fit in his general campaign approach, which is make New York City more affordable for the people who live there. Right? The things that he has proposed, the city-run grocery stores, controls on rent, those things are again, it's just, every now and then you'll see this, somebody say this, I don't know where it originates, but it's like, why is it so expensive to be alive? Like, that's where we're at. We're living that moment right now. It's so expensive to be alive. Can it just be a little bit cheaper to be living right now? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one that over the last couple of years got raises, but didn't actually feel like they got any more money in their pocket because everything else got as expensive as the pay increases. But one thing that's been kind of hanging in my head in this conversation since our conversation on Monday with Travel Football Fan was that Mexico they have their own sales portal because they've ruled, I think, dynamic pricing, or they've capped the resale prices.
No, I believe neither of those. I believe they do not have a secondary market in Mexico. by law, and I believe this is what Travel Football Fan told us. So again, go watch the video, right? Go watch that video. Travel Football Fan told us that they do not have a resale market as far as we know, and they definitely do not have dynamic pricing in Mexico. So it ultimately could be significantly cheaper if you are a Mexican national or a Mexican resident to go to games in Guadalajara in Mexico because in Monterrey because of those things, which is, again, why do we not have those things here? Well, because the free market rules everything, and we're just going to let companies and FIFA just take everything we've got where there's no controls.
That's what I'm saying. Why even push back?
Yeah, and you know, again, like, this is supposed to be a game for the people. And I know that like, you can sound naive when you say that out loud in the world we live in right now. But why would we not stop pushing for that? Like, why would we not stop trying to make this game? And I actually think that this is why I started my broadcasting career writing about MLS, talking about American soccer. Obviously, the U.S. men's national team was a major part of that, but I was very much into MLS, and I still like MLS. I still pay attention. I'll still watch games. I'm still there to see who wins the league. But I think my attention is starting to shift a little bit. My interest, the thing about my soccer soul that I'm finding is that I'm more attracted to what's happening, even if it's still also corporate, even if it still is also run by money, even if it still is also controlled by a certain subset of people. But I'm more attracted to what's happening in Boise or what's happening in some of these smaller towns, not even small towns necessarily, but just at different levels, because it does feel like, you know, the game has lost itself in this quest to be as profitable as possible.
The people aspect might be what you're looking for here, because when we're talking to people like Portland Hearts of Pine, that's literally a team representative going into a bar or a art place or a local establishment and having face-to-face interactions and conversations, and they know each other. It's not, Portland Hearts of Pine brought to you by Visa Beer Exchange or something like that.
Visa Beer Exchange. You know, it's funny though, timing wise, really, really terrible. My wife and I just took a look at the family finances, and we're looking at like what credit card we use for our expenses. And she was like, "Oh, we have a travel card, but we don't really travel as much as we used to. Maybe we should get some other card." I'm like, "Okay, great." She says, "Let's get a cash back card." I'm like, "Okay, fine. What's the best one?" She goes, "Amex." So we went from Visa to Amex. So now I'm out on the pre-sale. Like, and again, like, it's whatever. I mean, that's one of the smaller crimes committed here by FIFA, but it's still a crime. Like, you still have to think about this as limiting the people who can get involved in trying to buy tickets right now based on what? Your corporate loyalty? Like, and again, pushing people, Visa saying, well, if you're not a Visa card holder, you can't get pre-sale. You can't get into the pre-sale for World Cup tickets. You better sign up for a Visa card. So now I'm adding a second line of credit or a third line of credit or whatever it is. If I'm not a person who can handle my finances or doesn't have, like, this is just, ugh.
And it's not a fun thing. It's like, I mean, how long have we known about the World Cup coming to the United States? It's been close to a decade, right? And I have been thinking about, when can I get my hands on World Cup tickets for a very, very long time. And it's almost like the kid at Christmas experience is being removed because of all the corporate and phases and capitalism of this. It's not like no one's going to have a lifelong memory of entering their name into the Visa ticket lottery pool. That's not like a flash memory that you're going to hold on to. It's not like, I used to roll my eyes at people that would wait outside for concert tickets or the, whatever new item that's available at the stores, but that creates a memory for those people. Like, what if we were outside broadcasting live from the ticket counter right now at our favorite World Cup host station? That might be a little bit more exciting. That might create more memories, the bonds to the game and to the event.
Sure. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to romanticize it that much, but yeah, I see your point. I remember standing in lines for concert tickets and having to be there 10, 12 hours early to do that. Like, that is sort of a tradition, I guess. But, I guess more than that, and whatever people want to do to get their tickets, as long as, again, there's a sense that there's a balance between what the event needs to bring in to sort of justify itself or to fund certain parts of the operation or whatever. Like, why is FIFA Why is FIFA engaged in making money? Why? Now maybe it's like, oh well, we take our money and we give it to all these federations around the world to grow the game. Sure, but that doesn't mean you are justified in trying to squeeze everything out of, regardless of what country. Oh, the United States is the richest country in the world. They can handle it. No, but there are so many people who are fans of your sport who maybe spend too much money on your game, who already overcommitted to your game, and now you're saying, well, you can't go to the World Cup unless you pay $3,000 for a ticket.
Yeah,
Like,
is any
what?
travel soccer family going to have any more in the pocket in 2026 to do this?
I mean, no. And the other part of this that is really tough is like, yes, not just the memories that come from maybe being somebody who will go out and make the commitment time-wise. And obviously, people are privileged if they have the time to stand in line. People are privileged they have the time to pitch a tent and wait for tickets. That's a privilege too, right? Because I don't have to go to a job, or I'm not losing out on income because I'm doing this. That's a privilege. I get that. But I also think like the thing, you can't over romanticize it, but the thing that is so important to us as soccer fans in this particular country is that this becomes the seminal event for the next generation or another generation, or boosting that interest. And maybe you can get that from watching on television, but it's not the same. And certainly it becomes that thing like, I got to go to, like as you said, holding on to that memory for your entire life. And if you are a soccer parent in this country, and you're already, in order for your kid to play soccer, Rob, you're already dropping $10,000-$15,000 a year for them to play soccer.
For the highest levels, yeah.
Yeah, obviously not everybody pays that, but if you are paying a lot of money, thousands of dollars for your kid to play soccer, and then the World Cup comes and your kid's like, I have to go to the World Cup. Let's go to a game. I want to go to a game. And the dad or the mom is going to look at their kid and go, it cost $4,000 for a family of four to go to this game. We can't afford that. We are already paying for you to play. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, getting priced out of the game, no doubt. And really the takeaway from our conversation with Travel Football Fan, this is setting up to be the most expensive World Cup of all time.
Yeah, again, we are not a New York media outlet. Neither of us are from New York. Neither is producer Jenny, but Zoran Mamdani has an open invitation to come talk about this campaign right here on Morning Kicker. I would love to talk to him about this. I'd love to hear his thought, not just this is, about the greed of FIFA, but like, I'd love to talk to him as a soccer fan and get his thoughts about where we are right now with the game in this country. Again, as he gets ready to try to win an election to become the mayor of a city that is building a soccer stadium that is attached to a multi-club ownership group that is further attached to the royal family of a petro state. I mean, there's so much stuff going on here.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like, what a leadoff question. How do you feel about Saudi Arabia or a petro state building a stadium in your backyard, literally inside
the Emirates? The Emirates, United Arab Emirates, right? Yeah, that's who backs Manchester City.
That's the one. That's the one. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're wrapping up here on Wednesday's episode, but remind you, we are live from New Mexico this weekend. We will be doing our regular Friday show, but on Mountain Time. So if you like to tune into the live edition of the program, it'll start at 11:30 Eastern on Friday morning. So don't miss out on that. And in the Big Kahuna, first live on location show for Morning Kicker on special edition from Meow Wolf Night at Isotopes Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There we go. Saturday, September 13th. We'll be kicking off live 5:30 local. So it'll be 7:30 Eastern time. We'll be live on location talking to the ownership and hopefully a cavalcade of colorful guests and talking soccer, Meow Wolf, and the celebration of art, culture, and sport that is Meow Wolf Night.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for this. Going to be great. Ready to get out to New Mexico, get on the ground. If you are if you're an MK Ultra, you're going to get bonus behind the scenes stuff. We're going to be doing some travel logs and some videos and, sharing with you guys what it's like, what this is, how it all comes together. Hopefully little extra interviews, maybe with supporters, people out at the party as they celebrate the release of the new Meow Wolf shirt and all of that, which we actually haven't shown the new Meow Wolf shirt on the show. Did we do this already? Did we show it on the show? I don't remember, Rob.
We did not. I think the club showed us what it looked like, but I don't think it's been
It's
put on
been
screen
released.
during the show.
It's been released. Yeah, right. We haven't shared it, but it is out there if you are interested in what the new New Mexico United Wolf shirt looks like, and we'll certainly be showing it off when we are all in person in Albuquerque on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, so tune in for that. We will see you Friday and then special edition on Saturday. So until then, everybody, stay safe and enjoy your soccer.